Welcome to the Crafty Mini, and in this one, if you remember a couple of weeks back I did that painting with two colours video, which was something I accidentally filmed because it's just when I'm painting for myself, and then I thought I'd upload it. Well, it did quite well, so I decided same again with this video. So this is me just practicing with some paints that I've had in my collection for a while, and I've not used them very often, if at all, on the channel, and it's the ColourShift paints from Green Stuff World. Basically what these are, they've got like a metallic paint that it's very specific in how you apply it, and it gives this ColourShift sort of look. So with the one I'm using today, it's called Nebula Copper, so you get this lovely orangey copper colour followed in by it's sort of like a dark pinkish red when you move the miniature around and sort of rotate it and things. So I thought I'd give it a go. So to start off with, I was going to do a CYBERPUNK little mini diorama. To start off with, I've got this car that I've brought from Etsy, 3D print, and it's got like that sort of cyberpunk feel to it. And we're gonna go from there. So base coating it in a gloss black. It has to be gloss black paint in order for the flakes to give the best sort of outcome. And then we're going to start adding layers of the actual ColourShift paint from there. It's very laborious. You have to do multiple layers and try and get it as smooth as possible, otherwise the ColourShift doesn't work. But you'll see now as we go through the clips, as we're adding more and more layers, and it starts to take effect. It's a really interesting paint that you can do a lot with. Right, so a couple of things. So as I mentioned, the gloss black paint for base coat. Another one is you want a really soft bristle brush. And I thought with the panels for this one, for the car, I'd use a flat brush as well to try and get, again, you want that even layer. Now I have seen that an airbrush is another good way of applying the paint itself. I don't have one, not a working one anyway, and it's something I'm probably looking at getting for future as well. But just seeing it as a brush, you do have to put several coats, and you need to make sure that each coat fully dries before you put the next one on, because all you'll do is just move that initial layer and scratch it off, and you won't get the full effect. So I'm covering the entire car initially, and then we'll go back in and I'll show you how it looks about 3 or 4 coats later. Right, so here we are at about just starting coat 4. So as I say, I'm going on, letting each coat dry fully before hitting it with the next one. And you can see here the colour that's starting to come through. It's a really vibrant sort of pinky metallic. And then as the footage goes, and in the upcoming clips as well, as I'm moving the miniature around, you should be able to see the colour shift, and then you'll get this really nice deep orangey copper colour that pops through. And as I say, it's just a case of getting these layers on thin. Don't try not to have the paint sort of build up anywhere. If you do have any areas where it's caught on details, just feather it out and make sure each layer completely dries. Right, so at this point I'm just switching to a synthetic brush. I just wanted to see if it would go on any different, because I was struggling a little bit with that flat brush, especially on the wheel arches and some of the finer details. So that's why I've switched to this brush, and I'm just going to concentrate on those areas, and again getting that final coat on just to make that colour pop a bit more. It's, as I say, really interesting. There's a couple of flaws I've noticed which we'll talk about later, and I think just doing this as a test piece, airbrush is probably the way to go. Just because you get a really smooth finish. There's a couple of panels on the side of the car where it's a little bit scratchy, but overall the actual colour itself is beautiful. And I was thinking you could use this for things like magical spell effects on fancy miniatures, maybe some interesting jewellery and things, and some of the minor details that are on your miniatures. It doesn't have to be like a cyberpunk futuristic style miniature to paint. Right, so from here on in, just going around now, I'm going to start picking out some of the other details in metallics and other colours. But a good thing to pay attention to is as the miniature's moving about, is just watch you can see the colour shift happening. It's more apparent when it's on a rotate, or if you're moving in relation to it, but you can see it in certain areas. It'll move from that metallic pink to that really nice deep coppery orange. But now it's just a case of picking out some details. One thing I did notice, I had a little test piece to the side so I could see how many layers I'd need. If you put any washes on top, it completely dulls the colour shift down. So in order to get those really small, sort of like the cracks between the panels on the actual boot and the bonnet and things, you'd have to maybe be a bit neater in your painting beforehand. Or if anyone knows of a way of getting like some panel lining in without affecting the colour shift itself, let me know in the comments, anyone who's tried these paints, because it'd be interesting to see what you can do with them there. And then when it's a case of going into details, you've just got to take your time, get a fine detail brush and make sure you don't go over anywhere on the colour shift, because to get it back up to how it should be, it's just going to take a lot of time, and it's just a complete pain in the backside. Right, so I've picked out a lot of the finer details on the car body itself. Now when it came to the windscreen, I initially did a grey layer and realised, one, it's far too light and it doesn't look reflective enough like a windscreen. So what I've done is I've gone in now, back in with some just Vallejo black, really simple, and then when this is fully dry, I'm going to do a satin varnish. So it's not ultra glossy, but it'll just give it a little bit of shine. And just a bit of texture variation, just so it differentiates from the car body, but also it looks like it is a reflective surface. And this is something you've seen in multiple of my videos, how you can use varnishes in order to give you different variations in the textures and the surfaces of your miniatures, and it all shows and it makes it more apparent, especially if you've got a lot of the same colour as well. So I wanted some very small little sort of neon lights. There's these little parts on the car that you'll see that I'm painting now, and I'm using those acrylic pens that you've seen in a previous video. They've actually worked out really well. If you do a solid white base coat and then just a dab of this on top, it gives quite a nice bright colour, and it's just enough to pick out these small little accents on the cars. And again, this is the sort of stuff that I do when I'm just painting for myself. I'm trying new things, figuring bits out and seeing what will work and what won't work. And this was a pleasant surprise, and it's something I'll definitely utilise in the future. And I thought I'd share it with you here. So these acrylic pens, as I've mentioned, you can get them from hobby stores and things. I got mine from Hobbycraft here in the UK. I think they were about £7, something like that. And they've been really, really good. I can do a lot with them. And again, just going back to a previous comment, so this is where I go in and I paint the windscreens and the side doors and the little side mirrors all with the black instead, where I'll put a satin varnish just to give it again bit of difference, and it looks a lot better than the grey. Just remember to things like this is really thin your paints down and smooth them out, and if you need to do multiple layers, so be it. Just gives a better surface finish in the end. It definitely helped because the grey windows were not looking good as I was painting it, so I thought, right, but get the black on and go from there. And yeah, it's definitely improved it a lot. And this video, along with the previous project with the painted two colours, it's to reaffirm something I've been banging on about since I first started this channel, is go and experiment, try different things. You'll be surprised the sort of differences in the knowledge you'll pick up just by experimenting. And it's there's no bad paint job in my eyes, because if it is terrible and you don't like it, you can just strip the paint and start again. But yes, always go and experiment, try different things, try new paints, new styles, see how they work. If you need to, I've got a little notepad where I've got I actually paint a little bit of the colour and write down if I've been happy with it and stuff. It depends what you want to do, but go and experiment and have fun with your hobby. And at this point it's nothing new compared to what I've done in the channel before. It's just going out and picking out some details, trying some different things like a wash on the hubcaps. Turns out I don't particularly like it, and I'll definitely go back to the silver. It takes too much away from the paint job. I made a very simple base just with a thin layer of foam for like the paving steps and a cocktail stick for like the edge of the road. Just painted it all black, dry brushed the road up a little bit, which you'll see in a sec. And then the figure, I painted him as I paint all my miniatures at that sort of scale. Really simple. It was just an idea to get this diorama done and see what I think of these ColourShift paints. Overall, they're really good. I definitely think from an airbrush they're going to be better. And as I say, if anyone knows about the panel lining aspects that you can do it so you don't lose the details, let me know. But coming up now, the glamour shots. So enjoy. Leave your comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And let me know what you think. And if you want to see more of these sort of working out to my experiments, just put it into the comments, and I'll do more of them in future videos. Cheers.